Every morning is a test. Before the world demands anything from you, before people's voices and responsibilities invade your peace, the way you spend your first hour decides whether you rise or collapse. Yet most men wake up already defeated. They open their phones, scroll aimlessly, check other people's lives, and compare themselves before even touching the ground with their own feet. That is not living, that is surrender. Morning is not just about waking up, it is about awakening. If your mornings are chaotic, distracted, and without purpose, your entire life will follow the same pattern. You may not see it immediately, but the wasted hours compound, and what could have been power, clarity, and focus turns into regret. But here is the truth. You don't need to fix your entire life overnight. You only need to master the first 60 minutes of your day. Do this and you will control your mind, your energy, and your direction. This video is not about theory. It is about action. Today, I will show you how to stop destroying your mornings with habits that weaken you, and what to do instead so that you build a life of power, focus, and greatness. When the alarm rings in the morning, most people fight with themselves. They hit snooze once, then twice, then 3 times. By the time they get out of bed, they are already in a state of resistance. What they don't realize is that this tiny decision, whether to rise or delay, is a mirror of their entire life. Snoozing once may feel harmless, but it's a signal. I choose comfort over growth. I choose delay over action. The silent enemy of your morning is not time itself, but distraction and weakness. First moments of your day are stolen by screens, by notifications, by messages that belong to someone else's world, not yours. You give away your peace before you even breathe in silence. This is why so many men feel lost, restless, and unfocused. They begin their mornings reacting instead of creating. Think about this carefully. If the first thing you do in the morning is give your attention away, how will you ever own your day? Imagine a warrior preparing for battle. Would he start by listening to noise and gossip, or would he sharpen his sword and strengthen his body? Your morning is that preparation. Every distraction you allow makes your weapon duller. Every excuse you make steals your strength. The truth is harsh but liberating. If you ruin your mornings, you ruin your life. If you control your mornings, you control your destiny. The discipline of rising with clarity, without delay, builds a foundation for everything else. This is why monks, warriors, and masters across history treat the early hours as sacred. They know that the mind is purest at dawn, and whatever you feed, it will multiply throughout the day. So, the first step is simple. Do not let your morning be stolen. Do not check your phone. Do not negotiate with the alarm. Do not hand over your energy. Rise with purpose, stand tall, breathe deeply. Let the first action of your day be a victory, because one small victory in the morning creates the momentum for all victories that follow. When you wake up and the world is still quiet, you are standing in front of an open door. Behind that door is clarity, peace, and strength. But most people slam the door shut by filling the silence with noise, music blasting, phones buzzing, television playing in the background. They are afraid of silence because in silence, the truth of their life becomes loud. They realize the gap between who they are and who they want to be. But the Shaolin Way teaches something profound. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is energy. The silence of the morning is not a void to be filled. It is a space to be entered. In silence, you can hear your breath, you can feel your body, you can sense the direction your spirit wants to go. If you want control over your life, You must first control the quality of your mornings, and silence is the foundation of that control. Ask yourself, when was the last time you woke up and gave yourself 10 minutes of pure stillness? No phone, no words, no movement, just you, sitting, breathing, being. 10 minutes of silence can reset your nervous system, calm your racing thoughts, and prepare your mind like sharpening a blade before use. Every man who desires greatness must learn to be comfortable in silence, because in silence you stop reacting and start creating. You stop living by other people's expectations and start building your own path. You may feel uncomfortable at first, restless, even bored. But this is the training the mind to be disciplined, to be calm, to be focused. Think of it like a bow. The more you pull it back in stillness, the more power it releases when you let go. Your silence is the pull, your actions are the arrow. Without silence, your arrow has no force. With silence, every action you take carries precision and impact. So instead of rushing into the chaos of life, choose silence first. Wake up, sit down, close your eyes, breathe deeply. Allow the noise of yesterday to fade. Allow the anxiety of the future to rest. This small practice will give you more clarity than hours of scattered effort. And when you step into your day, you will not be pulled in every direction by the world. You will walk with calmness, strength, and unshakable focus. The man who can master his silence in the morning is the man who will master his destiny. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want. They believe waking up whenever they feel like it, skipping routines, and avoiding structure is freedom. But that's not freedom, that's slavery to impulses. True freedom begins when you gain control over yourself, and that control is built through discipline, especially in the morning. When you wake up and follow a routine, not because someone told you to, but because you chose to, that's power. When your body wants comfort, but your spirit chooses growth, that's freedom. Discipline is not a prison, it's the doorway that leads you out of chaos. Every morning your mind will resist. It will whisper 5 more minutes. It will say you can do it later. But every time you give in, your willpower weakens. Every time you rise and act despite resistance, your inner power expands. This is the real training ground of the warrior, not in the gym, not in the temple, but in the battle between your excuses and your execution. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about consistency. The Shaolin monks wake up at the same hour every day, not because they are forced to, but because they understand the beauty of structure. Structure is what frees the mind from chaos. When you no longer waste energy deciding when to move, you can focus entirely on how to move. That is mastery. In the modern world, distractions are everywhere, comfort is cheap, and instant gratification is available at every turn. But those who rely on comfort will never taste fulfillment. Discipline creates distance between who you are and who you could be. It builds the bridge from potential to reality, and this bridge can only be built one consistent morning at a time. You may think discipline limits your joy, but the opposite is true. The man who has no control over himself lives like a leaf in the wind, tossed by every storm. The man who has discipline stands like a mountain. His emotions may shift, but his actions remain firm. When you begin your mornings with discipline, waking up on time, training your body, feeding your mind, you are sending a message to the universe. I am ready. Ready for challenges, ready for growth, ready for greatness. And life always rewards those who are ready. So do not run from discipline. Embrace it, because the chains that discipline places around you are the same chains that break the grip of weakness. Discipline is not the end of your freedom. it is the beginning of it. Every day begins with an invisible vibration, your energy. It is the quiet force that defines how you think, speak, act, and respond to the world. If you begin your morning with chaos, rushing, and distraction, that becomes your energy for the entire day. You carry the same restlessness into your work, your relationships, your thoughts. But if you begin with calmness, focus, and gratitude, that energy multiplies too. Energy is not magic, it's alignment. The Shaolin monks understand this truth deeply, that the body, mind, and spirit must begin the day in harmony. This is why their mornings are sacred. Every breath, every movement, every moment is intentional. They don't rush, they flow. They don't chase, they align. But look at how most people start their day, scrolling through news that doesn't concern them, reacting to messages that steal their attention, filling their minds with fear before they've even spoken a word to themselves. How can you expect peace when your first act of the day is surrender? The way you begin your morning is not small, it's spiritual. It's your declaration to the universe about who you are becoming. When you rise with energy that's pure, calm, and focused, you are silently telling life, I am in command of myself. And life responds to that command. You begin to notice small coincidences aligning in your favor, small victories stacking up, and a deep sense of power growing within you. This is why monks meditate before the world wakes. It's not about escaping reality, it's about preparing for it. When you master your inner energy early, the outside world can no longer shake you. The noise, the people, the problems, they may touch your life, but they no longer control it. You see, your energy is contagious. It shapes how people perceive you. When you walk into a room filled with calm authority, others feel it, they trust it, they respect it. But if you enter with scattered, anxious energy, even your words lose their power. This is why mastering your morning energy is not optional, it's essential. Start your day with a small act of stillness. Breathe deeply. Speak gratitude aloud. Move your body with intention. Eat slowly. Every action should remind your mind, I am here, I am alive, I am in control. The quality of your morning determines the quality of your energy. And the quality of your energy determines the quality of your life. The difference between ordinary people and unstoppable ones begins before the sun rises. It begins in their mind, before anyone sees their success, before the world notices their confidence. There's a quiet battle happening at dawn. The battle between comfort and purpose, between excuses and action. And every morning, the unstoppable ones win that battle, not because they are stronger, but because they refuse to negotiate with their weakness. Unstoppable people don't wait to feel motivated. They act their way into motivation. They know the mind can't always be trusted when it seeks comfort. So instead of asking, do I feel like it? They simply say, it's time. That one decision transforms their entire day. When a man or woman begins their morning with intention, the mind begins to follow their command. It's no longer the emotions driving the day, it's discipline. And that discipline slowly becomes peace. You stop depending on the world to inspire you because you've learned how to build your own fire. Look at the morning habits of the greatest people, monks, athletes, entrepreneurs, philosophers. What do they all share? Silence, structure, focus, and gratitude. They don't waste their energy on things they cannot control. They use their mornings to set the tone of control over what they can, their body, their breath, their thoughts. Being unstoppable doesn't mean being perfect. It means beginning again every time you fail. It means when your alarm rings and you want to stay in bed, You rise not because you have to, but because you made a promise to yourself that your comfort will never control your destiny. That's real strength. Your morning mindset must be built around 3 words: focus, gratitude, and movement. Focus keeps your mind sharp, reminding you what matters. Gratitude keeps your heart humble, reminding you how far you've come. Movement keeps your spirit alive, reminding you that life flows through action, not thought. When you combine these 3 each morning, you become unstoppable, not because the world becomes easier, but because you become stronger. The Shi Heng Yi teaches that the greatest power lies in mastering yourself before sunrise. When the world sleeps, you rise. When others drift, you move. When others chase comfort, you build character. So, the next time your alarm rings, don't hesitate. Don't think, rise, breathe, and begin. That one act, that one moment separates the ones who talk from the ones who live with purpose. The unstoppable do not have more hours in their day. They simply use their first hour differently. There is a truth so simple, yet so often ignored. The way you spend your morning is the way you spend your life. Every sunrise carries a message. It whispers, begin again. But most people don't listen. They rush, they scroll, they complain, and in doing so, they repeat the same life day after day. The future doesn't suddenly appear. It is quietly built in the moments after you wake up. Your morning is the foundation of your destiny. The thoughts you allow, the energy you create, and the choices you make in the first hour, they decide the direction of everything that follows. It's not just about routine. It's about alignment. Alignment with peace, purpose, and clarity. Shi Heng Yi teaches that the mind is like still water. If you touch it too early with chaos, it becomes disturbed for the rest of the day. But if you approach it with calmness, silence, breath, focus, it reflects the truth back to you. The morning, then, is not just preparation. It is reflection. It is the mirror of your soul. Ask yourself, what energy do I bring into my day? Do I begin with noise, or do I begin with awareness? Because your answers define your life more than any external event ever could. When you wake and immediately reach for your phone, your mind becomes a slave to the world's chaos. But when you wake and reach for your breath, your peace, your purpose, the world begins to follow your energy instead. This is the true power of mornings, not productivity, not routine, but presence. When you are fully present in your morning, you stop reacting and start creating. You begin to live as a master, not a follower. Greatness doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters with full awareness. That's what the morning offers you, a sacred time to remember who you are and who you wish to become. Every morning is a chance to write the next chapter of your life. You can wake up with doubt, or you can wake up with faith. You can begin with complaints, or you can begin with gratitude. You can repeat yesterday or create tomorrow. The choice is always yours. So from this day forward, protect your mornings like your life depends on them, because it does. Rise in silence, move with intention, speak only what strengthens your spirit, and then watch how the world begins to change around you, not by chance, but by reflection of your new energy. Your future isn't waiting for you somewhere far ahead. It begins right now with the next sunrise. Wake up with purpose, and the universe will rise with you.